I don't believe it. That's Clone Force 99.
This is Wrecker, Hunter, Echo, Tech, and Crosshair.
Obviously, we are different.
We're all you're getting. Ha! We're all you need!
They call themselves the Bad Batch. Experimental Unit Clone Force 99. The defective clones with desirable mutations.
This is one meeting I don't want to miss.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Dad Batch Podcast, episode 7. If it's your first time listening, welcome. And if you've listened to us before, welcome back. The Dad Batch Podcast is comprised of 5 fathers who build Star Wars costumes and troop together at events, conventions, and pretty much anywhere they let us in. We're dads of kids from toddlers to collegiates, and we support each other with dad tips as much as building tips. My name is Stephen Schultz, and I am your host in the pilot seat today. And of course, with us, as always, the other Dad Batchers, your space daddies. First up, he's a combat vet making Star Wars armor therapeutic, and he loves Sour Patch Kids. Joe Lara, how are you, sir?
Sour Patch Kids are within arm's reach at all times. I'm doing great, man. It's so good to see you all, and I'm sure we're going to welcome Mike in, but I got to say, welcome, Mike. Doing great.
How was your week?
It was good. Saturday was the day in the garage. The wife had stuff to do, and I was in the garage sanding like a madman, which my process is slow, so I didn't get much done, but it was still good. And then I got to hang out with some of the veterans that I got to work with in the past. That was always good. Last night, spent about 3 hours with them, just helping them as they're looking at career transition, like what's next. That's always a big, huge question mark hanging over their head. And I get to spend the same amount of time tomorrow night with them. So it's a good week. Bottom line, good week.
Very cool, man. Very cool. I'm excited to hear more about that. Next up, he's racked up enough frequent flyer miles to travel to Endor and back. Rami Shanaday, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I wait every week to see what you're going to come up with next. It's always so good. And it's different most times, too. I'm tired, and I don't know if it's because of the frequent flyer miles, although it's definitely been because I've been putting miles onto my truck. Several days in a row, I've been back and forth to LA from where we moved to, which is a bit of a haul. So that's been taking up all my time. And what little time I did have left on Saturday, all I managed to get done was a new internet line in here to the office, which should hopefully help with any quality problems on the call here. So
Right on. How far is your typical drive from where you live to LA?
We're about 100 miles, I think, give or take, a little more actually. North of LA and inland. So, but there's no straight shot from here to there. I've got to drive like an hour east or west just to be able to go south to go down there. So,
jeez. And then you add in LA traffic with that, and then you're like 3 hours.
Yeah. Fortunately, most of the times I had to go back and forth, it was at like weird hours, so it didn't really collide with traffic. But then Monday was the last day I had to be down there for what I was helping some folks with. So,
interesting and cryptic at the same time. I like it.
I cannot talk about it.
Right on. Well, thanks for being here. He's the playboy of paint, the master of metallic, the king of chrome. He's with us tonight. John Rodriguez, how are you? He's on mute, I think.
Hey, boy.
Oh my God, yeah, I was on mute. My bad, guys. Doing great. Wow, yeah, Mike's got me nervous, man. I didn't realize I muted myself.
My mic
doing
does look
good.
good. Thank you. Yeah.
How was your week, John?
Doing good. It was good. Busy, worked a lot. I'm so tired.
Were you working the 9-to-5 job, or are you working the cool job?
Both.
Nice.
Both. Yeah. I'm really tired. Yeah. I'm good though. Great. Happy to be here as always with you guys and the new guy.
Right on, man. Well, thank you. He doesn't own a pair of chaps yet, but he does own a cowboy hat. It's the greenhorn bull riding Brian Cook. How are you, buddy?
Yeah. When I rode a bull, I did go to some bull riding, but I'm not getting chaps anytime soon. Sorry, I'm not Cad Bane over here.
Oh, dude, you got to build a Cad Bane, and then I can call you.
If you were,
and then we can call you Dad Bane.
Dang!
Snap.
And you still get a toothpick.
Doesn't Raimi already have one? Oh, I mean, it would be. I don't know if I could pull
I
off the
don't.
Brian, start the website, get the social going. Dad Bane.
Bane.
Now.
Someone's probably already got it.
How are you, buddy? How was your week?
I'm good. Super good. I think you were referring to us going to the PBR, which is the professional bull riding event over the weekend, which was epic. A friend of ours who's from this area, he actually painted our house too. He hits us up and he goes, "Hey, do you guys want to go to PBR?" He goes, "It's a lot of fun." And I was like, yeah, let's go. Girls were like, yeah, let's go. So we got
Pabst
tickets.
Blue Ribbon. What?
No, it's not. It's
professional bull riding.
That's it. Professional bull riding.
So now, from what I understand, this is like a whole spectacle, right? It's like a big event.
It was like going to an NFL game or an NBA game. Like the production value, their logos, like it's teams. So it's like teams of riders,
bull riders,
and and they're like, and Carolina is the Carolina Cowboys, and their logo's sweet. It's like a big cowboy hat with like a checkered bandana because it's like race culture around here. So, but every team has like a rad name and a rad logo, and it's music and lights, and like obviously it's bull riding, it's action. And the funniest thing was our buddy Marty, who invited us. I was like, "This is really awesome," and he's into. He used to be a professional dirt bike rider, and he goes, "Yeah, man, like I don't like anything where people don't get hurt." he's all like, baseball? F that. I'm not watching that. It's boring. He's all, I want to watch things where people can get hurt. I was like, I'm kind of with you on that. So
they're wearing helmets now, right? Like the evolution of it.
So that's the funny thing. If you were born after 96, you have to wear a helmet. If you were born before 96, you don't have to wear a helmet. So there's some dudes that are older that are just old school, like out there with a cowboy hat.
What's the reasoning with that? Like, hey, you're too old. Screw it.
It's like the rules of having to smog check your car.
Yeah. Totally. Like, oh, you're good. You're 46. It's all fine.
Yeah.
Your life's already over. Your life's already over. You're old.
Oh, your car's that old? Oh, yeah, there's nothing you can do to stop it.
Are not saving anything by putting it in the brain bucket.
So there was like 3 or 4 dudes that didn't wear it, and they're just like, I mean, those are men. Men.
So. Right on, man. I'm kind of jealous. I saw the pictures that you posted in our chat, and
they come to California.
Yeah,
they come to California sometimes. So
wow.
PBR.
I'll have to check that out.
Professional bull riding, not Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you again, everybody, for. Oh, wait, what is this?
We've got company.
When he's not building costumes or trooping like us or handcrafting literally hundreds of Star Wars inspired ID cards, he's the host of his own podcast, Armor Party. We are so excited to have him on the show as our first guest. It's Hondo Supply himself, Mike Forrester.
Mike! You know, when I'm waiting for everyone to get their intros, and I never know when to start talking. And so I sit here and I wait, I listen, and I'm like, I'm ready to jump in from the top.
Just go for it.
And I'm like, I want to talk about PBR. That's what I want to talk about. Because one of my former students is in charge of the video production of the whole tour.
Yes.
So he's got like the insight of like the whole, because you go there and it looks like the Super Bowl, right? There's like the graphics.
Totally.
Yeah. And all the, so like that's one of my former students that runs all that. It's amazing.
It's amazing. Incredible. Now I know why it's so good.
Do you remember that run of the Chicago Bulls, the opening That was like so good. What was that song they would play when the Chicago Bulls would run on? Yes.
Yeah,
that's what I'm envisioning.
Yeah,
that's what I'm envisioning.
Yeah,
exactly.
It was awesome. And then the point about the helmets. There was like one or two guys in the NHL that didn't have to wear helmets because they were grandfathered in. Do you guys remember that? This was like, I'm from Detroit, right? So the Red Wings were like my team for the longest time. There were a couple guys that played without helmets. And I remember being like, that looks dangerous. I don't know if
huge.
I don't know if it's like, if they were just at that point, like, what are you going to do? I mean, the goalies didn't used to wear helmets in hockey.
That's so insane.
Wild.
In The Mandalorian, Grogu, he likes to play with the little shifter thing from The Mandalorian. Like those guys just got 2 big ones of those. Huge.
Cojones.
Huge.
Literally in my chaps.
And
2 giant steering knobs.
And John chromed them.
Where this is going?
Man.
You're still Mike. You're still muted, John.
All right, good.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I was saying I missed the beginning of that joke. Yeah, dang. Well, I told you I'm tired, man. I'm so distracted. Sorry, boys.
Well, thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. If you'd like to interact with us more, follow us at the Dad Batch Pod on Instagram and check out our new merch at thedadbatch.com. Gentlemen, let's get into this thing right here.
This garbage is nothing like clone armor.
Looks a little tight on you, old man.
Yeah, at least I know how to wear it.
That's right. It's the weekly workbench. All right, guys. Who's working on what?
Joe sanding.
I'm still sanding. What am I doing a week from now? Still sanding. Still sanding.
Joe uses a little 1-inch piece of sandpaper, and he's just like, "Yep,
the square inch
small therapy right here."
For some of those,
so you're making it.
I start with 2,000 grit, and then I go to 10,000 grit. So
So you're making a BD1, you said?
Yeah, making a BD1. And you know what? So today, my printer was just not. It's dialed in. You know, just like who's wearing the shirt today? Like, probably when the printer's working, you just print stuff, right? I wasn't printing anything the last couple of days, and I felt bad. I'm like, I need to do something. So I just clicked on Disney Plus, started watching Clone Wars, saw the P1 helmet. I'm like, I don't have one of those. So guess what's on the printer right now?
Nice.
My first P1 helmet. So,
nice,
dude. It's so easy. When you know what you're doing, it's easy. When you don't know,
Don't say that, Joe. Don't say that.
Famous last words.
Famous last words. Yep.
Have you decided on a paint job for that yet?
No. I mean, I was watching Ghost Squadron. It was I love Waxer and Boyle, right? And so was that they're going to Ryloth and just looking at that helmet, I'm like, that's a sexy helmet. Why don't I have that? And so I haven't figured it out yet, though.
The one that you're printing, is it animated or realistic?
Animated.
Style?
Yeah, animated. Yep.
Nice.
Yep. But that's what I'm working on.
Way.
Sweet. Well, my printers aren't printing right now. My resin printers because some genius decided to update G2 Box or I don't know what. So none of my files are saving correctly. I tried to update my Mars 2 Pro printer. I think I did everything in like the wrong order. It doesn't work. It's like doing commands that don't exist. I don't even know. So that's my week. Oh, and I commissioned. I have something coming. I have the mask from Prey, the feral predators.
Nice.
I commissioned Crossfire Props to print me that.
Chrome it,
and there's pieces that are like metallic. I'm not going to do the whole thing like I said. Actually, I might. We'll see.
There you go. Done.
Yeah,
just do it.
We'll see. But yeah, I'm excited to paint that. I think it comes Friday. So, yeah. So I have nothing. I've just been working a lot, and
John has so much Illumoluster. I just see him like washing his hands with it, and then and then drying his hands on a towel that he already chromed.
He's like the dudes in Mad Max just brushing his teeth.
Yeah.
Like,
He's like chrome.
We'll see John at the gates of Valhalla.
Yeah, he's like gold member, but with a lumilester.
Good paint.
I love chrome.
It's very good. Yeah.
Oh my god!
But yeah, that was what I did. My printers don't work, and I'm waiting on stuff, and that's it. Nothing.
Right on. Well, I got this in the mail this week, and I got the what is this? Trapper Wolf Black Series helmet. I purposely haven't opened it yet because we're gonna do another unboxing on the YouTube channel.
Nice.
But, it looks pretty cool. You know, I was looking at the fake weathering that they did on the wolf logo on it, and I was like, it looks a little heavy-handed. But I was comparing it to his actual season 2 appearance when they were flying next to Din Djarin. No, that was Book of Boba Fett, wasn't it?
Nope, you're right.
Anyway,
no, it was
you're
Mando,
right.
wasn't it?
Right. Yep.
But yeah, it's
Episode 2.
his first appearance wasn't weathered, but his second appearance was like super weathered. So he saw some action in between that. So I did that, and then I worked on my microphone a little bit. Hold on,
Let's see it. Show us.
can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yeah, but don't do that.
No, I need to whisper to my microphone because
It's so good.
I hate you.
No way.
hate you.
The cables.
He's whispering to it.
I'm going to be whispering to this microphone because one should only ever whisper to Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
She's very
Make sure it
finicky.
knows you love it.
I mean, this whole bit kind of just wrote itself at this point. Because look at the cable. Go a bit closer to the camera. Look at how the cables are the fingers that go around to hold. Those are his microphone cables. He like wrapped them around there. So good.
So good.
So
dude.
good.
Throw it, Steven. Throw it.
Will it come back?
I wouldn't treat her this way.
I hate you.
Oh, man. So good.
It's so good.
I do want to just carry my microphone now around the house, like from the boom arm. But yeah, those are only 2 things I worked on this week. It's been a busy week. Just a lot of school stuff for the kids. I didn't understand how much stuff like kids have to do, like with kindergarten and book fairs and PTAs and all this stuff. And I'm just like, modern dad. But yeah, other than that, it's been a pretty easy week. We got some, I've been working on some pre-production for some stuff that we have coming hopefully this weekend, some surprises for the Dad Batch listeners. And we'll talk about more of that hopefully soon.
Yeah.
I finished BD.
Here he is.
Version 1. His name
That's
is
sick.
Dusty. It's basically to cover up all of my crappy 3D printing that I'm too lazy to sand. But I actually wanted to I wanted to experiment with something I saw on somebody's YouTube or Instagram, and I don't remember who it was. I want to say it was Uncle Jesse, but I'm not sure. But it's Model Masters. It's like a rust paint. So it's like a kit, comes with a primer, an ironized paint or something, and then an activator. So the primer, at first I used it, but I think that's only if you're trying to like paint something completely the one color. But unfortunately the primer's brown and then you're painting a paint over it. I don't know. It was just too much. So I ended up just using the paint almost like a black wash, like I do with anything else. And then just spraying it with the activator. And I got some rad colorizations out of it. I'm super stoked on it. And I use it on my Stormbreaker that I just posted on Instagram. I'm not going to run to the garage and get it because I don't want to embarrass.
Just hold your hand up. It'll come, right? That's
I don't want to embarrass Steven with his thing he has going on there too. So that I'll show at a different date. but it came out super well on my Stormbreaker.
So this paint that you got, it's like real rust, right?
No, so it's a black paint, and it has iron in it. So you paint it wherever you want the rust to form, and then you spray this activator spray on it, and it gradually turns to like it rusts.
Yeah,
it rusts, and you get varying degrees of color and a little bit of texture depending on how much paint you put on it. So like I used it on rough parts of my prints where, the 3D lines or there was bubbles or whatever, and that just like builds rust around it and looks super realistic. So if you look on my Instagram, you'll see the Stormbreaker. It came out phenomenal over the Chrome. Thanks to John for all the help with the advice on how to use the Chrome techniques. I used way too much 2K on it, but hey, that's how it goes.
You didn't use what I told you to use, though. You used a different paint.
Well, I already had Duralim, so I didn't want to spend $100 on a bottle of Alumiluster, and I had Duralim, and I did not want it super shiny. So I wasn't looking for a mirror chrome finish. I mean, he could just pick it up off the ground and let me have some of it.
Yeah, I could have mailed you some, yeah.
But it came out good.
And then, some out of your bathtub.
I already started like version 2 of BD1. I wanted to resin print the whole thing, so I had to shrink it down about 10%, and the prints are
nice,
coming out really good. So, and it has nice weight to it too, which I think is cool. And to avoid it being brittle, I put a little flexible resin in with the I'm using the ABS type resin, and then just added a little bit of the flexible in there, and it's got a nice little give to it. So I don't think it should be too brittle. But
what's the mix? It's like 50-50 is like that sweet spot, right?
I just pour some in and then go, that looks good.
A little bit more
like
for me.
A third? I don't know. About a third. I'm not measuring it, so.
Eyeballing.
Yeah. So that's it.
All right. So I just in case anybody's just wondering, it came up a little bit earlier when we were talking about somebody doing Cad Bane that could be Dad Bane. So I now own dadbane.com. It was available. It was available, and I bought it just because.
We're not live, right?
It doesn't even matter. By the time the show airs, somebody would have grabbed it, and so I just keep it in the family. Anybody's welcome to it here on the call. It's just all good.
You're on the hook now.
I'm watching out for.
Just like, by the way, I own it.
I'm watching out for.
We're done.
I've got an account with the company. It's like two clicks. It's like a shopping cart. I have bought more domains on a dare than you would ever want to know. It's too much.
Dadbane.com.
I can't do another Instagram. I literally can't start another one.
Dad baning ain't easy.
Dad baning ain't easy.
So amidst all the busyness over the weekend on Saturday, I filmed an unboxing video of the First Order TK that we talked about. The Denua Novo
so
kit.
good.
It's still staring at me over here. I haven't touched it otherwise, but I've got that filmed and it's up on our Dad Batch podcast YouTube channel. So thanks for the edits on that, Steven. So that's up there. Hopefully everybody gets a chance to go check it out. Drive a little bit.
Definitely a must watch. It's definitely a must watch. It's good.
Yeah,
good.
I looked. Nobody else has put anything like that up yet. So
because no one else got it.
All three of the people that actually have this thing.
Yeah. Actually, what I really liked about that was you weren't just showing each piece, but you were also saying like how you would build it.
Yeah, and so I'm lucky in that I guess because it took so long for me to get this, I got impatient and went and bought from another vendor a First Order TK. So I was able to take my experience having built that one.
Oh, 4 years was too long?
6. 4 years was too long, and at about that point is when I bought the other one.
People don't know how to wait these days.
I know. I think the Pony Express would have gotten here quicker, but it came. It came. The new company is doing right by the customers that got screwed over by the predecessor.
Kit looked good.
It's clean. I'm happy with it. I'm excited to get building on it.
Real good. Yeah.
But the experience that I had with building the other one helped me be able to talk through like what I would do, knowing what needs to be done with these pieces. So,
Knowing what you know now.
yeah,
right.
exactly. And there's some stuff on this one that I'm excited about because it's going to make it easier to put together than the one I had. The only other thing I've got, I thought it would be
What is
interesting.
this?
What?
Can you see it? You can't
John's
see it.
showing a picture of himself. Is that you or Jesus? I can't quite tell.
Joe messed me up.
It's just a go.
I
I love Chrome.
I love Chrome.
Already done it. Nice.
He didn't waste any time. Yeah, in the time that took Ramy to buy a domain, Joe made an edit.
That's actually more impressive.
He also registered ChromeMember.com.
Chrome member. Yeah, that's this guy's name.
ChromeMember.org.
I
.com.
should check that one.
Where'd you get this photo? Did I send you this?
I've had it from before.
Brutal.
I've been using it on several other images.
Oh, really? You haven't showed us yet.
Okay. So, I mean, we can do this if somebody really wants. If we can do this if somebody really wants to, or we could use this as our experiment. ChromeMember.com is available right now. So, we've already got a sampling of one that we talked about and then bought to reserve. We could just leave this one go and see how long it takes for this one to disappear.
Let it go. Let it go.
All right. So
if it's meant to be, it'll come back. We'll see.
All right. We're going to put a pin in that. Next week, we're going to check and see if it's still available or if industrious listeners bought it.
All right. Yeah, that's no.
The other thing I was going to talk about a little bit, because this is something that comes up in costuming. So, you hear us talk about, like, we buy these weird things, right? Because, you need like this weird dental tool to put onto Boba Fett's gauntlet or on the back of his helmet or something like that.
I'm going to get to that soon. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm setting you up.
Yes.
We talk about greeblies and these random things that we have to buy that are not intended for what we use them for. So, I've got these buttons that I'm holding up to the
I know
camera,
what those are for.
and they're big. They're about an inch square, just the clear
Whoa.
part. The button itself is about 1.5 inches square. So I only need a little piece of this, but like I had to buy a set of 10 of these things.
What?
And they've got this nice satisfying click.
Oh, wow.
So these are like the buttons that you would see on the face of an arcade cabinet. If you think about going to an arcade, a big scale button that's going to be able to handle being beat on 1 billion times by, anybody that walks by. So I'm going to take these lenses off, and all I end up with is these little square clear tiles. So out of all of that assembly, I'm only interested in this tiny little piece of plastic, but this is going to go on the chest of the Pike costumes.
Pike Syndicate.
Pike Syndicate guys from the Book of Boba Fett. So fortunately, the set that I got had 2 reds and 2 whites, which is all I need to do one costume. But then I've got a whole box full of all the other colors of the rainbow.
Dibs.
It was they're not the right color. Oh, you can have them for another project, but yeah. I mean, they've got this nice click, and there are LEDs inside of them. But it was like $20. But then if you think about it, if somebody told me, hey, listen, I'm going to sell this like prop accurate part. You need 4 of them. I'll sell them to you for $5 each. So you'll get what you need for $20. Like in our what we do, like that, I would be like, okay, fine. I know it's the right thing. I'll take it. So the reality is I feel bad about having to not use the rest of this box of buttons, but what I got out of it was what I needed. So, and that's the name of the game. We buy these things and we tear apart. So for my Boba Fett costume, Mike, which version are you doing? Empire or Return of the Jedi or Special Edition?
Empire.
Okay. So you'll have a different cape, but the cape for the Return of the Jedi Boba that I have is part of an army tent. So I literally found, and you have to like cut just this little rectangle out of this giant army tent piece. So I bought this thing off of eBay, and I don't remember what I paid for it, and I got it, and I figured out exactly, okay, I'm going to cut this rectangle out of this spot, because if you do that in the right places, the stitching is all right, and the grommet's in the right place, and it's like, this is the way that it was on the original costume. And then after I did all of that, I get an email from the guy that sold it to me. He's like, oh, like that tent kept me dry during the war, and like I'd love to see what you're doing with it.
You'd be like Boba Fett.
And I'm like,
you're like, well, you're no good in your head.
Cannot tell this guy that I took this thing that was like a memento for him. I mean, I guess to be fair, he saved
his life.
But he literally reached out. He's like, I'd love to see how you have it set up, because I don't think it ever occurred to him that somebody would take it and like cut it up to get a small 2-foot square rectangle out of it.
He's
So I didn't have the
he's
heart to
probably
tell
like,
him what
I got my use out of it. I'm gonna sell it to someone else so they can enjoy it.
I didn't have
and
the
they
heart
can
to
live
tell him.
on.
But,
Oh.
So that's my weird eBay
Damn.
story. So with that, Mike, tell us what you've been working on in your workshop.
All right. Well, Rand, that is echoing to me. See what I did there?
Very nice.
I also went on and bought an authentic World War II pup tent off eBay, which I got the stakes for it and everything. And it is that, like, Return of the Jedi is a little bit more olive green. Empire is a little bit more tan. So I bought the tan, and then I've got to airbrush the sienna line in the middle of it.
Okay.
But yeah, you got this thing, and it's like got that U.S. Army, like, I think it's actually the I want to say maybe the fort that it came from, because it's got like a marking on it. It's like, Springfield or something on the inside. I'm like, oh, this is pretty rad. So yeah, it's going to tear. I mean, we're all collectors. So it's so crazy to me that we would buy something for authenticity just to destroy it for another part of authenticity. It's a weird web we've weaved for ourselves, gentlemen. So I'm like equally far. I don't think anyone's ever like really like that far along with Boba until all of a sudden they're just done with it. That's generally my philosophy of how I feel about Boba Fett, is I'm neck deep in this thing. I have bought, my wife is not going to listen to this, so I don't care. I'm just going to put it out there.
What? She's our 6th listener. What are you talking about?
She's upstairs with her ear to the floor. She's like, yeah, let me see how much this moment.
She has a cup there, yeah.
If it helps, we have a unit of currency that we use on the show called an echo. Although I don't remember what the latest exchange rate is for that, but
yes,
3,000. Okay,
yeah,
so
double echoes.
Okay.
Yeah. I have spent a lot of Mantel mix on currency for sure. But what I'm hoping to do, and part of the reason why I have Armor Party Podcast, which I have 2 of you left to get on the show, all right. So I'm really kind of on this crusade to be like, part of the biggest frustration that I've found with this build is that there's like, some people intentionally gatekeepy. Some people are very open to sharing everything they know about this build. But the problem is that a lot of these paints literally, like, you can't get the original Floquill Railroad colors. Sometimes you can, but people at this point, like, the secret is out. Like, no one's selling a vintage Graflex to be like, I'm just going to get rid of it. Everyone knows at this point, right? You can literally Google anything and be like, oh, wow, for some reason they want my grandpa's old flash bulb. That's weird. So the paints, I see them pop up occasionally. I've got a couple of the search notifications up for like Mercari and eBay and stuff like that. And so a couple of Floquills have popped up, but I also know in my sphere of people that I've followed for this build, they also have the same thing set up. So I will see a vintage Floquill bottle that pops up with a really kind of, unique color, and then it's gone instantly. And I'm like, yo, there aren't that many people out there looking for this, like, you know what I mean? This field gray from whatever.
Specific color.
Yeah. A 45-year-old paint. No, people aren't out there looking for that. And then you'll see in the group, like, someone's like, guess what I just scored on eBay? You're like,
it was you.
It was you. So I think really, like, my crusade with this build is to try and modernize the process of painting Boba Fett. And so what I'm going to try to do is do so much paint research and show that off, so that if anyone gets into this build, because let's say if we get in Book of Boba Fett season 2, we get an Empire throwback, you're going to see people be like, I got to build that costume because he did something awesome, right? And then it's going to turn into this whole thing, of course, where they're going to modernize it. They're going to paint it in their own way that makes sense for them.
Mm-hmm.
But that people are going to go down that rabbit hole of being like, what if I built one authentically? Well, up at this point, I've got probably 14 bottles of different Tamiya. I've got a whole bunch of the Archive X. I bought some of that because I was like, you know what, whatever, it's for research, let's do it. So I bought these official Archive X colors that, is like supposed to be Lucasfilm matched and blah, blah, blah. And then I've got just a bunch of other like Vallejo and all these other brands that like you can buy now. It's not like half of the people are like, oh, these Model Masters. And I'm like, okay, cool. Where do I buy it? They're like, dude, those have been discontinued for 20 years. You're like, well, come on, man. Like, help me out here. But yeah, so that's like my crusade right now, is to try and modernize. There's a part of me that wants to buy a whole nother set of armor just to rattle can the whole thing.
Do it.
My Return of the Jedi Boba is 100% Rust-Oleum Home Depot rattle cans. All of it.
Yeah. And
it can be done.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, you know, given that I'm looking at a wall of probably about $300 worth of Montana. I know that there are colors, like I literally tested Montana Storm that I believe us as hobbyists are using for Boba Fresh of Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And that Montana Black Storm is damn good color, dude. It's a very good color. So I see that, and that encourages me, because I think like there's a part of me that goes, I want to be part of the group that like doesn't gatekeep Boba, but at the same time, Boba by default is a gatekeeped character because it's so freaking expensive.
Yeah. Well, and if you want to
build
get
the
it
base
Legion approved or anything too, it's like,
yeah, just to be able to build the baseline CRL it's nuts. And I think like being a part of this community of builders, there have been some incredible people that have been super, super helpful. And then there have been some people that are like, dude, just look at the picture, just paint it like that. And I'm like, all right. Which I understand.
Look at the picture.
Look
Thanks,
at the picture.
bro.
Not too helpful.
Yeah, thanks.
And that's
Thanks
fine.
a lot.
That's fine, you know, because I think at some point, you know, we do have to, you know, there are a lot of guys out there that I respect their paint. And John and I have talked about this extensively. Like you get to a point eventually where you keep asking for people's opinion, and how I feel with this build is like, I could spin myself in circles, and eventually what's going to happen is I'm going to throw paint down for the first time and then just be like, I'm going to paint this whole costume right now. But taking the first step to doing that, to just committing to being like, as soon as I throw some paint down, someone in the FET community is going to be like, that doesn't look good. It doesn't look right. But who are we building this stuff for? You know what I mean?
It's not for them. It's for you, man. Come on.
You're gonna open
not for you know.
You're gonna open source Boba Fett.
That's the graphic designer in you, man, because it's like you want to get the 1 in 16 million color right. You want to get it perfect.
Well, I know that
you just got to do it.
What's been really cool is there's this builder. He goes by Ord Mantell, and it is the most fascinating thing I have ever seen, because I think truly he is building the most accurate Boba Fett I've ever seen. And dude is literally like put in this research, and he's like a couple years in on this build. Almost every single part that he has is authentic. What's crazy?
Is he like down to the scratches and marks and stuff?
Well, not even that. Like, I mean, I feel like that's like there are people who are repainting
found parts.
At this point. Yeah, he has literally like found every single part that was available at the time. It's incredible.
That's rad.
It's so cool. And I think like there's always this balance. I talk about this on Armor Party. You have this difference between being like, I want to do something that's completely authentic to honor the decisions that led to why people feel this way about that character. I think we all do at some point because we respect the source material that much. At the same time, I think half the FET community cares more about Boba Fett than Joe Johnson does. You know what I mean? It's true, because it's like if you look at there is literally like so
they do
little thought into how they were just kit bashing. They cared about Boba Fett so much that they repainted his own armor for the third movie after A New Hope was a smashing success. That's how much they cared about ESB Boba. They repainted it. They weren't even like, we should hold on to this. They were like, repaint that. Who gives a shit?
Well, in the grand scheme of things, they're like, he was in like 2 scenes. Who cares?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
He's a throwaway character, right?
Yeah, nobody's about to kill him. You know, like
no one gives a shit about this guy. Yeah.
Blink and you miss it. Nobody's gonna like that guy, anyways.
Yeah.
100%.
He died so quick.
100%. We're gonna just throw him down the
that's the build. That's the
not
gnarliest
dead.
build, man. Next to like
Vader,
you know, the Vader
right?
guys are pretty like intense, but the Boba Fett, I think, just because there's so much more colors and parts to it, whereas Vader's it's black, whatever. There's argument about the color gray, like you're saying. Is it Tamaya? Is it the whatever? But like, it's still at the end of the day, like it's these parts painted a certain way, and Boba Fett is just there's so many layers to it, and I always think it's right, like every little scratch, like they try to make it like perfect to how it was on screen. It's so intense.
Well,
crazy.
And the irony of this kit in particular is, so we're going to talk about this because coming up in Armor Party as I get a little bit more time is like I'm going to have these roundtable discussions. So look forward to that. You're going to listen to this. You're getting a little preview of what's coming for Armor Party. We're going to have these roundtable discussions. And one of the first discussions that I want to talk about is, can you have lineage without recasting? The answer, in my opinion, is no. And the Fett community is a huge part of the problem because
Notorious.
people won't accept. Everyone wants to go, I have to have lineage. I have to have lineage. I have to have lineage, because everyone wants to build this costume to authenticity. But then at the same time, they kick half the people off for being recasters. And I'm going, well, you can't have a lineage something unless it was recasted. And you're seeing with the fact that we can digitally recast something now, we don't even need to have the physical item anymore, which is where half of the original EFX recast came from. So it's going to open up all of these discussions about how we talk about like, well, like this was screen use. Well, that's really cool. Then where do we blur the line between being like, at the end of the day, for us as a costuming community, we'd be stoked if someone was like, hey, I got quote unquote with permission to rip something off a screen use piece. Dude, that's rad. Thank you so much. Do you get to own that? Because the copy that comes from the copy of that is a copy of a copy. But then we have this you know what I mean? We have this ethical issue among the community that's like, well, what's cool and what's not? Because there's a ton of guys in the Fett community that have been banished from the forums for basically doing that same thing. And the process of how they did that was shady. And so like, what's to say that if you come out outright, because the fact is there's 4 people selling lineage helmets. And I'm going, well, none of you guys were there in 1983. So someone got this from someone who got it from someone else. And especially for Empire, because the lineage cast is the SE helmet that was dropped that has the damage in it. And so for ESB, you have to buy the lineage helmet and then fix it to make it seem like you got it before it was dropped in 1988 or wherever. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just like, it's all very interesting to me on an ethical standpoint of like what we tolerate in the costuming community versus the idea of being like, well, dude, if it's not lineage, because plenty of people will be like, here's my version of Boba Fett. And people are like, not lineage. You know what I mean? And you're sitting here going, well, this dude made this based on his own, file. And it's like, well, dude, it's not lineage. I mean, does it even look good? And you're like, dude, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's on a whole nother level. But that's an interesting way to look at it for sure. Like, I think it's valid. At some point in time, someone's got to copy it. Like,
well, to have
no one has ever accused me of recasting or copying the photocopy of the Mona Lisa that I have in my hallway. So,
well, the thing is, you're not selling copies, are you?
I'll trade you for one Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. That's sounds like we all have a packed workbench. I look forward to everyone's builds. Echo, let's get into this thing right here.
We're being hailed. This encryption's new. This might take a while.
All right, so we've got a lot to talk about in the news, so hopefully we can get through this in a reasonable period of time. First off, the mouse giveth and the mouse can taketh away. So right after we were talking about how we were excited that the Bad Batch got added back to the schedule for September 28th, D23 rolls around and Dave Filoni comes out on stage and confirms that the Bad Batch is in fact actually starting on January 4th.
Oof.
Yeah. So,
Lame.
yeah, bummed by that. We will get 2 episodes on that one day, but that's still a long ways out. So I think it's a little telling that there was clearly some issues with the publishing of the schedule, but it is in fact now out in January. So,
That's okay. That's okay. That just gives us more time to work on it. That's fine.
True.
Well, we need to see some photos.
They need to give us some
something.
reference. Yeah, we need another trailer or something to work on.
We were supposed to be in London in April with accurate costumes, and the show doesn't come out till freaking January.
Y'all ain't got any more of them trailers?
Yeah, exactly.
More of those clips.
Like that was going to stop you guys, though. Like, are you kidding? You guys I feel like John's
already on season 3.
Yeah,
so.
we're season 6, dude.
Yeah. We're all like half done anyways, but still.
With that announcement, does that mean that December is now wide open, Star Wars wise?
It looks like it, yes. Although I haven't looked at there's some more stuff that we're going to be talking about here. So that will be coming out. So I got to look at the schedule for some of these things. So some of the new stuff that they unveiled at D23 might actually go into December from the looks of what it is. I don't know. Although I don't know how they're going to be releasing it. So let's get into that. So D23 was last weekend, and there was a lot of Star Wars content. I'll kind of go in the order that, as I understand it, they talked about things on stage. So Kathleen Kennedy came out, started with Andor, brought the cast out to talk a little bit about their characters in the show. They released a new trailer. Because of the volume of stuff we've got on the list to talk about, we're not gonna do a trailer breakdown this time, but it's a good one. And by this time next week, I think we're gonna be watching the show anyways. So everybody should go check that out. Unless you want to stay away from spoilers, which it looks like Crosshair already got up and walked away. So, but Kathleen Kennedy did confirm that the second season is going to begin filming very soon, and confirmed that it'll be an additional 12 episodes specifically. So we'll have two seasons of 12 episodes each. So,
wow.
Moved on and talked about Willow at that point. Interesting Star Wars crossover, and I think this was actually announced. I just didn't catch it until this time. Star Wars alum Erin Kellerman, who was Enfys Nest in the Solo movie.
Oh yeah,
she is part of the cast, which is good. She's been good in everything I've seen her in, so I'm looking forward to that. And they also confirmed that Christian Slater's actually in the cast too, which is
what
I had not heard, but they confirmed that on stage. So, and they showed a trailer for that too. And Sweet. then they talked about Tales of the Jedi, which I'm excited about this. Yes. I was kind of looking forward to it before, but this looks cool. So, 6 episodes, or they refer to them as shorts. So I don't know what that means as far as the time of each, but man, if the trailer that they showed is any indication, I don't know how short these could possibly be, because there was some meaty content.
I heard 15 minutes. I can't confirm that, but I heard 15 minutes.
Man, for what? It'd be great. Do you remember back in 2003 and 2005, the Clone Wars micro series stuff that they did? How they were like 4 minutes long each. I mean, and yet they were packed with content. I mean, this is practically going to have to be like that, because the trailer they showed it looks like it focuses around kind of 2 main storylines. One following Ahsoka, and there will be 3 episodes on that, and one following kind of a blend between Dooku and Qui-Gon Jinn. Mm-hmm. But Dooku and Qui-Gon Jinn are
looks awesome.
Much younger. So we've got a younger Qui-Gon and Dooku. When Dooku was still a Jedi, we see Mace Windu in some clips there too. We see Ahsoka kind of through the range. I mean, they showed her as a baby, as a young Padawan. They showed her in an outfit that clearly matched what we see in Clone Wars season 7, like the jumpsuit. And
she's training with Anakin right in the middle, right?
And we see an Inquisitor as well. Yeah. And so I'm wondering if that is going to tie in with the book, the Ahsoka novel, because she encounters an Inquisitor in that. So
yep,
was that the sixth brother?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think so.
He's got a weird mask.
Yeah, but I don't know that we actually had a great visual description of the one.
No, there
in
wasn't
the
a
book,
visual description.
So
Just that the saber spinned,
Yeah.
and that she, did that thing.
But yeah, he's got a really long, kind of pointy mask. From what we see in the
Sixth brother was in Rebels, right? Didn't
That's
he get
fifth
murked?
brother?
No, it's fifth brother.
Yeah, it's the one in the book.
He was
definitely
also in
different.
Kenobi.
Yeah.
Wait, who's the brother that had the helicopter saber?
They both did.
They all do.
That was
They all did.
The one that died in like one that
in
died in
Rebels?
like
Fifth
one
brother.
episode.
Yeah, it was fifth brother.
The one that died in Rebels?
No, you mean in Malachor, right? When they fight Darth Maul and stuff.
Yeah.
Or when Darth Maul and
Yeah,
Kanan
who's that
That's
guy?
Rebels, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
Rebels.
Which one was that one?
I think that's.
That was the fifth, and I think that's the same one that that we saw in Kenobi, isn't it?
No. That was the fifth brother, but he's talking about someone else that's in Malachor, and he tries to get away with the helicopter, and he ends up the saber blows up, and he falls and dies.
Because there were 3 in Malachor.
That was like eighth brother, maybe. Who knows?
27th brother.
Well, there's
like-
9, right?
I guess they're not limited to the amount of Inquisitors they can have, right? Because
Disposable.
Yeah,
27th cousin.
Exactly.
Yeah, seventh neighbor.
Okay, so with Ahsoka, they showed some exclusive footage that they straight up said during the panel that they were not going to release in any other way. So I don't know what that revealed. But they did talk about Ahsoka. They brought some of the cast out on stage, and I don't think this was officially confirmed. Although I saw it exploded in the news as if it was confirmed. So I don't know where that came from, but we're hearing that Iman Esfandi has been cast to play Ezra.
Cool.
In that. And again, I
think that was
looks like
I think
him.
that was on
He
Deadline.
looks just like him.
He does.
He does, yeah.
Put some blue contacts in. Done.
I hope we see some Purrgil. Space whales. We need some space
You
whales.
know we're going to. They even mentioned it in Kenobi. We're going to see it
Oh,
for
nice.
sure.
That's true. Next up, they talked about Skeleton Crew, and they had Jude Law on site for the event. So they showed a still of from production, and it's actually a pretty interesting shot. So it shows Jude Law in the foreground, and behind him you can see at least 4 child-sized figures that are standing behind him, and then there's 3 gatekeeper droids from Jabba's palace. The one that pops out the eye. There's 3 of these things in the foreground pointed at him as if they're aimed at him like guns. And so I have no idea the context for this image, but it's interesting. So they did say that the series focuses on a group of kids who find themselves lost in the galaxy in the days of the New Republic. And again, confirmed that it's around the same time as the events of the other live action shows. So no reason why we couldn't expect to see some kind of crossover at some point.
Oh, they're going to go on a mission to find Luke's lightsaber.
Oh,
That's got to come around
is
eventually.
that an official theory or something?
No, I don't know.
Is that your fan fiction?
What else?
That's the alcohol.
No. I went heavy on Book of Boba Fett fan fiction, and I can't do that anymore because I made a damn fool of myself. The Jude Law also misspoke and was like, "Oh yeah, filming his rap," which might have been for his own
Part.
filming his own part. But it's not done filming, and that would have been the fastest setup of all time.
Yeah.
It started filming after Ahsoka, and Ahsoka is still filming for another month, so there's no way they did that. But I think people were like, "Whoa, it's already finished! What could it be?" I think the dude just misspoke.
Yeah, I can say that I don't know about him, but they are still absolutely filming.
Right.
We talked about that a couple weeks ago, that Favreau and Filoni have been basically given this whole 30-year time frame from Jedi to Force Awakens. So
To troll us.
Yeah, pretty much. But if
This podcast.
If they put Skeleton Crew as part of this timeline, and then we know that they're working towards an overall Avengers type thing with all the different series.
Thrawn.
I wonder how these kids are gonna fit in to that story.
One
So,
of them.
I don't know.
One of them is Poe Dameron.
Oh,
Hey,
I would love, I think we
Write
said
that
last
down.
week, it would be super awesome for them to start crossing over into the sequel stuff. Like,
Yeah.
that's an empty time frame that is just ripe for the picking, especially now that they're just shipping first order TKs. It would make sense.
It would be good marketing.
But wasn't
What
that?
if
I mean,
one of them is young Ben Solo?
I feel like wasn't that what everyone was speculating was going to happen? Like at the end of, like, oh my gosh, they're going to go meet up with Luke, and he's going to be at the temple, and like, Ben Solo is going to come. I literally think that was a rumor that someone, whoever one of the leakers got wrong. Like I think there was like a concept was going to do that, but then I think everyone put it together in Mando season 2. Snoke's theme. They're looking at a cloned body. I mean, everyone was like, yo, we got to get there. And I think the point that we had said on Thank the Maker was like, dude, we're all going to get to that. But like, I threw out this wild theory.
Breadcrumbs.
I was like, I threw out this wild theory. I was like, dude, what if Thrawn started the First Order? What if Moff Gideon started the First Order? And everyone was like, wait, oh no, we can't dismiss that. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like,
well, it's just like you said, these could be breadcrumbs, and we're getting right. Like they're going back and pulling all this Clone Wars stuff out and adding all these little bits and pieces, bringing back the Clone Wars era into Star Wars. And these could just be, like you said, the little Snoke clone thing, like breadcrumbs for down the road when they can get into, when the Mandalorian's over, or when like they can start shifting into that in between time into the sequels. That'd be cool. Be super fun.
I think getting
I just
back
don't want it
First
to
order
be forced.
TKs are sick.
I just hope it's not forced, right? I mean,
absolutely
Unintended.
you know what I mean? Like, I think,
nice, dude. Nice.
I know what you mean.
right? So the little, Clone Wars mention from old Ben Kenobi, all of a sudden we have the Clone Wars, right? That is beautiful. It's not forced. It's kind of just arrives. It's great.
I think given the success of Top Gun, though, we all saw it. I think most of us probably enjoyed it. When
I haven't seen it yet.
Hell yeah.
So good.
When Kathleen Kennedy made the announcement there's going to be a Rogue Squadron-ish movie, and then Catherine, it was Catherine Bigelow, right? No, it was what's her name?
It was the Wonder Woman director.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name.
What's her name?
Patty
Jenkins.
Yeah.
Patty Jenkins.
Patty Jenkins.
She tells her story about her dad was a fighter pilot in Vietnam.
Yeah,
died,
that's right.
killed in action, and then she rollerblades in the X-wing suit to a frickin' T-65. Okay, throw me off. I'm like, give me a movie as simple as Top Gun where they just go and kick off like a little outpost that has really good fighters. I'm like, and it was
That'd be amazing.
right.
That's it.
But the rumor was that it was supposed to be sequel content.
Speaking of pilots,
Was supposed to what?
Why did you make me do this?
What was that?
jumped the gun there a bit, I think.
Nice jumping gun. Nice.
You shoot
I was trying to mute. John.
Why?
shoot.
You got a freaking party going on over there, dude.
Cut that out.
Mike,
I have a kid. Sorry, I have children.
you're only a
I have a
dad.
child.
Sorry about the
I have a
dad
child.
bash
I have
with kids.
a puppy in my arms.
Okay, Mike.
Making a racket.
You were saying something really good. I was like
Sorry,
leaning in,
Joe.
and all of a sudden,
Like
go ahead.
the rumor was that it was going to be a sequel era X-wing movie, and the first thing that I thought of, not because I love Rey, not because I love some of these characters and like what it opened up, was just that I was like, we get to move, like we get to punt the football a little bit into being like, let's get something that we don't have to have connected, because
Yes.
the Mandalorian is keeping us like happy with our OT era. And I'm like, also like, dude, like I think some of the like the Resistance designs were so killer. I'm like, give me more of that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't need
Yeah.
I don't need to be an X-wing purist to know that an X-wing in almost any form is rad. Right.
Right.
And I just loved the idea that like we could get something new that people wouldn't, even though I'm part of this culture, wouldn't like we get something new and people wouldn't be like, oh, like they missed, people don't care about, Disney doesn't care about Star Wars anymore because they put the TIE bomber's fuselage on the wrong side. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, dude, come on, man.
Yeah,
We're trying
let it go.
Dude,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So I think that made me most excited because we had this opportunity to just be like, dude, the universe is
Massive.
this way. It's this way.
Yes.
It's
so massive. Clone Wars
hope
was
it's
an
still on
example.
track.
Rogue One was an example. I think Andor is it's taking this one character and is sending us in a whole new direction. Yes, tell new stuff, new characters, and I don't mind a revisit. I don't mind fans. In fact, I love fan service, but tell new stuff. Right? Keep us in the. I want to see the rust. I want to see the rustic rebel. Kind of grittiness of the costumes and stuff, but new stories.
Well, we're getting it. We're getting it with Andor. I mean, that's going to be
exactly
a big thing because Andor was in one movie. Cassian was in one movie.
Yeah.
Like, which was obviously, one of the best
really damn
Star
good.
Wars movies made.
Yeah.
But like, he was in one movie, so he's not like Obi-Wan or Boba Fett, where it's like there's all this history behind it. There's one movie behind this character, and it's a complete offshoot. They did Solo really well too. So it's like I think I'm totally spot on with what Mike's saying. How it's just breadcrumbs leading us to something else down the road.
I don't care what era it's in. I'm a fan. Service me.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think here's this part
it's a
that
buffet
oftentimes we gloss over, right? And if you are like that little conversation where Finn and Rey realize, no, it's Finn and Rose, where they realize they're on a stolen ship. And DJ is like, he brings up the blueprints and he's like, oh, is this your guy's side? And it's an X-Wing. And then he's like, oh, looks like he's playing both sides. And he brings up the TIE fighter. And he basically is like, who wins in war? The people who get paid for it. And I'm like, dude, yeah. And I'm like, okay. It went from space battle to shit. We're doing this stuff right now. But I think I'm like, dude, that's to me, like, you want to talk a gritty Star Wars, like Star Wars is political, right? So I know that we could get into stuff like that. And I think that Rian Johnson put that there for a reason. Cause someone would be like, why don't we do let's do a little quick story on Incom or like any of these any of the shipbuilders that are kind of like, you have a guy who builds ships and realizes like, oh my gosh, I mean, I've been working for the enemy. And I guess until I actually had the means to be able to leave, I never thought what I was doing was wrong.
The Tony Stark of Star Wars.
Yeah. 100%. Like, where is that? I love that.
A Top Gun style Star Wars movie would be so insane.
Raimi, what else we got?
All right.
Yeah.
Sticking with the news. Okay. They had the cast and talked about The Mandalorian. I think that I don't think we got any content. They've been pretty good with trailers on that one. So nothing new to report there. They did bring out Indiana Jones. And so they had Harrison Ford there and Phoebe Waller-Bridge. They confirmed during their panel that John Rhys Davies was going to be reprising his role as Sala.
Nice.
So, and they actually did confirm, and I hadn't heard anything about this up until then, but they did confirm that there are some flashback scenes where they're actually going to de-age Harrison Ford for those scenes. So I know that came up. Came up the other day.
I saw some behind the scenes shots where he has dots all over his face.
Okay.
That's what I figured.
Yeah. Sometimes you see these fan made things and you never know if it's real or not. So, but yeah, so they did confirm that they were going to do that. And I don't know if this was announced at the panel or if this came to me from a different channel, but I'm seeing stuff that sounds like Helena, so Phoebe's character, is actually Indy's goddaughter. So that's the connection there.
Okay.
So Indy's the godfather.
So
I would like you to find something for me.
And then
I saw him at the panel. He looked like he got emotional. I don't know if that was fake or not, but it looked,
he did.
it was
Yeah,
it was pretty
he
special.
came out and he got
That was real.
Pretty well up. And speaking of getting emotional, so the best thing I have seen on the internet in a long time and has restored my faith in humanity is the photo of Harrison and Ki Huai Kwan, the guy that when as a kid played Short Round. So, and the look on Key's face is he's just so excited, and the two, it's like Indian Short Round together again, and that just made my day.
You call him Dr. Jones?
Yeah, doll face.
Dr. Jones. Hey, lady, you call him Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
Did you just frost over to the Mandalorian trailer? Season 3?
I did.
Wow. That was pretty spectacular.
We could spend an entire episode on that, so I'm trying to keep us on
I just
schedule.
want to recognize its greatness. Yeah. So, because we are crushing time, but that trailer was insane.
There's so much in that trailer.
It was, and I think a lot of that was comprised of footage that they showed on site at Celebration, but only to the audience that was there. Cool. So I think a lot of that footage actually made it into the trailer that they released this time.
The custom Mandos is so rad. We're getting more of that, which is great. I think that's the biggest thing.
Okay, and then moving on. So they also showed a live action. Not that he's not already live action, but they showed a Din Djarin in costume with Grogu that's going to be present at Disneyland. Yeah. So they're introducing another character to walk around the park.
That's awesome.
They did specifically say he was going to start out at Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge, starting in November. And the Grogu is animatronic, looks just the whole kit, both Din and the Grogu look exactly
really
like
nice.
what you see on the
really nice.
From the pic, look good.
Really nice. Yeah.
Looks really good in that world too. Matches.
Have
you
guys?
They did some filming, right, for the Mandalorian season 3 at Batu.
Cut that out. You got to cut that out.
You know why I say that? Because there's some folks that I follow.
I did hear.
Maria should not have shared that. You're right. But then everyone was like, no. It was just a commercial. It was a commercial.
I was supposed to show that. Okay.
I was like, dude, no one's doing a commercial at 3 a.m. with the entire Mandalorian crew. I was like, stop that. You went to Galaxy's Edge. Everyone knows it. Go ahead and cut that out.
3 a.m. Wow.
She did a post. I didn't know that.
Steven is going to text you guys at like 6:30 and be like, fuck you.
No, the podcast is
it's finished.
The podcast is 20 minutes long. We had to cut everything out.
I'm putting this all in. Fuck you guys.
Oh, man. John's fired tomorrow. All my contacts have gone blank.
I just talked to so many NDAs.
Randy's sweating now. He's all son of a bitch.
I apologize.
Steven,
I apologize for that.
Okay, ready? Here, I'm going to clap.
Chaos.
The one thing that I will say as someone who's been to both Batus, people in Florida have no idea how to act around face characters, so this surprises me at nothing that Disneyland is getting both characters.
Interesting.
That's probably why.
There's so many more people at Batu East in Florida. It's insane. And I have to say that y'all California people know how to keep it chill because people in Florida have no chill. So I'm not really that surprised if we ever don't get Boba and Fennec over on the other side, unless there's a very specific marketing reason. I'm just saying, like, Batu East is a absolute bizarre compared to Disneyland. It's crazy different.
I think it's got a broader range of cultures that are visiting Florida's Disney. Because if you look if you've got to get on an airplane and go to a Disney park, you're going to go to the Florida one. You should, at least, because and Disneyland is 99.9% people in Southern California that just have annual passes anyways.
Right.
So
That's true.
I think we're dealing with a wider range of cultures and just everything that goes with that. So
in general,
no, that's guaranteed.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's more of a
one more item for the news. Congratulations to, I hope I get this name right, Lee Jung-jae, who won an Emmy for lead actor in a drama for Squid Game at the Emmys on Monday. And the reason I bring that up is because he is rumored to have been cast as the male lead for Star Wars Acolyte. So Acolyte is going to film in the UK. And so far, the three names that we've got attached to that project are Lee Jung-jae now, Amanda Amandla, Stenberg, who actually everybody would probably know as Little Rue from Hunger Games, the first Hunger Games movie. Her.
Oh yeah.
And then Jodie Turner-Smith. So we've got 3 names attached to that project now. We still don't know anything about it, other than those names and that it films in the UK and hasn't started filming yet.
It's a movie, or is this a show?
It's a
It's a Disney Plus show.
I need some movies, man. Come on.
Movies are great.
And
The show.
that brings us to an end of the news.
Why did you make me do this? Guess you have a choice. You want a war? Or do you want to just give me a gun?
My father, he go toilet on my hands.
Oh my God.
Urine is 35 degrees Celsius, staves off the frostbite.
How is this relevant?
You know, fathers.
All right. So if you heard that intro, that means it's Hunter's hard drive. So this week we're going to do something a little different. I want each of you to tell me what you're watching rather than just pick one thing and go for it. And I'm still hooked on Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Episode 3 just came out, and it's just amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you guys. Yeah.
We started another podcast for that, so Rings of Dads, and you have to check out that one.
It's called Dad Rings.
Dad Rings, because we'll just talk about that show because we all loved it. So
Do I need to register another domain name?
Dad.
yes, you do.
Dad.
Just check, see if it's available. So basically, yeah. So I want you guys to each tell me what you're watching currently or what you're hoping to see soon. So go ahead, Brian.
I always go last, so why don't I go first this time?
Well, because you're usually complaining about something, but if you want to go first, you absolutely can.
Choice, because it's my choice. I get to
go
do.
For it. Yeah.
So I didn't even know this was out, but Cobra Kai has a new season.
It's good,
and it's actually really good. Like the last season, I was like, okay. I mean, the show has been made purposely to be cheesy.
Yes,
and last season was just a little too crazy, but this one we're like hooked. Like, and then Tori went out of town for a few days, and Levi and I are like, oh man, we want to finish this, but we gotta wait for Mom. Like it's like
you're getting antsy. You want to watch it?
That good. And then I want to just give a bonus. Oh. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say I haven't watched any Cobra Kai.
You haven't?
I liked Karate Kid. No, I haven't.
If you liked Karate Kid, this is a good one to invest in.
I like the OG movie, but yeah, haven't seen the show.
You'll like it.
Yeah. But go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
Fun, cheap entertainment. And then I just wanted to give a bonus watch to the Elvis movie.
That was
the
good.
New one that just came out.
Really?
It was awesome. I always like it when they make these kind of biopic movies or whatever you want to call them, and the actors sing. They actually sing some of the parts, and I'm always, whenever I watch a movie like that, I always like Google it after, and I see like, oh, did they sing? And yeah, the actor like fully sang. I thought he did a great job. Tom,
nice.
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
Like they blended. Some of the performances were blended with actual Elvis lyrics, but there were some songs that were fully sung by him.
Yeah.
Movie was a little long, so it got slow in spots, but the editing, the vibe, it had a little modern twist to it. There was some like, modern music mixed in with it in certain parts. It was flashy, it was energetic. I think, most younger people probably know very little about Elvis, and it was kind of an interesting insight into his life. I learned some stuff about him that I didn't know. But the music was like, man, it reminded me of the Queen movie.
That was a good movie too. Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
But
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's as good as that, but the music, like the parts where they're performing, you just get super sucked into it. So
I'm kind of the opposite of you. I don't like, or I don't want to give those types of movies a chance because I feel like it cheapens the artist a bit,
Really?
Yeah. Like I didn't watch the Queen movie. I haven't watched Elvis for that reason, because I love Queen so much in general. I don't want to watch some dude sort of try to be Freddie Mercury.
Okay, but I'll tell you this: like,
he's around.
Watch
he's not
the
around,
Queen movie, John. Watch the Queen movie, and at the end, they show all the behind the scenes footage, and
it's like pretty matched
Rami
up
Malek,
or something.
Rami Malek, right? That's his name.
I think so.
Move for move, there is not an inch off of when he does the performance at Wembley or whatever it is.
He did a good job with that.
And he sang it.
I have the DVD of Wembley, and it's from a while ago, a long time ago, and I love it. It's amazing, and I have several of the Queen DVDs from like Canada and Wembley, and
he copies his movement verbatim.
All right.
I think
they show them both together. Like they put the time in to do the
study.
The artist.
Yeah.
So.
There was an interview with Austin Butler, the guy that plays Elvis. I think it was on the Tonight Show, and he was talking about how before he took the role, or I'm sorry, when before they started shooting, he actually went to Graceland, and he spent like a week there with Priscilla and Lisa.
Oh wow!
And he
I read that,
and he before he could actually start the scene and do any of that stuff, he had to basically get the approval from Priscilla that it was okay. And then I also heard that she was there for the scene of when she leaves.
Yeah.
So like when Priscilla, so when Priscilla and Elvis break up and she's leaving, I heard that she was there for that scene.
Wow.
Wow.
So she's making sure it's accurate, at least from her perspective of what happened. Yeah. Right. Wow.
All right.
I mean, the Johnny Cash movie with
Queen Phoenix.
What's his name?
Quentin.
Joaquin Phoenix. Like, dude, him and Reese Witherspoon sang the songs. Like, I don't know, these movies. I just feel like these huge iconic music figures, they do them such justice when they recreate they make these films to kind of put them on this pedestal. But
right on.
That's mine.
Right. Well, thank you, Brian, for your contribution. Joe.
So there's this movie that I've been wanting to watch forever. And it's one of those movies that's really good. You know it's good. And you're just waiting for the right time. And I had Saturday because I was in the garage sanding, working. And I'm like, I'm going to finish this day watching a movie that I've been wanting to watch. Super 8. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
So good.
Haven't seen it.
Is that the Spielberg movie?
Yeah.
It's Spielberg production, but it's J.J. Abrams.
Oh, yeah.
It's Abrams, yeah.
And so it takes place in the late 70s. And I'm a Gen Xer. I'm in my late 40s, very late 40s, about to be 50 in a couple of years. And so that type of movie just hit home. The nostalgia of E.T., great
Goonies.
epic movie.
Yeah.
And so you have that, and then you have Close Encounters of the Third Kind of like meshing together. Two iconic movies coming together in this one movie called Super 8. And it's got Alien that's trying to get home, of course, typical 80s film. And just the Spielberg-esque type of filming where you have some really close-up shots and then all of a sudden some fading and some I'm not a cinematic like guy, and I'm probably butchering it. Sorry, Mike, all you guys that are in the digital arts and arts in general as far as visual. It's beautifully put together where I was in it from beginning to end. And I was just looking at a little bit of research, and it got 81 Rotten Tomatoes, right? 81%, whatever that means. For me, it was 100%.
It got 81 Rotten Tomatoes.
It was
I don't watch
so
that stuff.
good. It was so good.
Sounds good.
It was one of those movies when you watch and you just feel good at the end. You're like, I can sleep good tonight.
So you leave feeling good. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I might check that out. I haven't seen that either.
So Brian, have you not seen it either?
Actually.
Did you?
Ooh, nice.
Because it was marketed as like a horror movie, like the classic JJ.
That's what I thought it was. Yeah.
So it's got a little bit of
feel good at the end.
it's got a little bit of like Cloverfield sprinkled into it.
So I totally missed this when it came out. I think I was in Afghanistan or something like that when it came out. I was totally somewhere else in part of the world, so I totally missed it. But I was looking at, I didn't know this. Scariest thing I ever saw.com, Rami, was a website that was designed for the marketing of this film.
I don't know that one.
I know you don't own it because I just looked it up and it's available. It was used. It was used as a marketing campaign for this movie.
Blair Witch
to bolster, kind of, pull people in. Scariest thing I ever saw.com. And there are these
I thought it was like an alien horror film.
There were these like eerie kind of images that were put upside down, and if you like looked at it sideways, if you tilt your head, you like make out some kind of weird voodoo stuff. I don't know. It was weird. It was all a way to market the film. It doesn't quite match the film.
Great flick.
I'm just gonna
right on.
But the movie was great.
Well, okay. Right on.
I'm not sure if I've seen it. I'm looking at pictures of it right now.
Watch it.
We could honestly make that a homework assignment and come back and talk about it again. It's
go watch it, Brian. You can watch it.
That's what this is for, right? Check.
Dude, it's a good family movie.
John's going to watch Queen. John's going to watch Elvis.
I say I am, but I probably won't. Anyway, Raimi, tell me what you're watching these days.
All right, so as you guys have heard me say before, if like we can't watch it with the kids, it doesn't get watched at all. So we're always kind of on the lookout for something that we can watch with everybody. So my wife will look and she'll read like the kind of parental reviews on things and stuff, and so we'll find our way into some kind of weird shows from time to time that probably wouldn't have been recognized by the mainstream. But so we just got done watching. It was 2 seasons worth of episodes. A show called, although they were short seasons, a show called Raising Dion, which was a series that they ran 2 seasons of on Netflix. And so it's about this little boy whose father actually had, before he was born, the father had been at like a meteorological event. He worked for this company that they studied the weather. And at this meteorological event at the Northern Lights, it was just this weird combination of events that something happened to the people that were present for that. And that, you got to get into the episodes to kind of figure out what's going on with all of them. But ultimately it gives this kid abilities. So he's, basically got, it's like a little 6-year-old kid or whatever with like superhero kind of abilities that are starting to develop. And you go and find out like the whole story of how all of this happened. Stars Alicia Wainwright, Josiah Young is the little kid, and then Jason Ritter, who's the late John Ritter's son. Season 1 was good. It blew our mind at the end of season 1 because there was a twist there that we just were not expecting, didn't see coming. And then we got all the way through season 2 and it was fine. And then the last episode of season 2, like just overnight jumped the shark and turned into like, all of a sudden we felt like we were watching the Power Rangers or something. Like this whole show that we had watched 2 seasons worth of episodes for and enjoyed it. And they just took everything that we enjoyed and just threw it away in the last episode of the 2nd season. We're like, what the heck just happened? So we were kind of bummed by that. But we got several, we kind of binge watched these series. So over the course of several weeks, we were watching all the episodes and we just finished it up. It was good while it lasted, but we didn't like the direction it went at the end.
So, not so happy ending, I guess.
It wasn't that it wasn't happy, it honestly, it felt like somebody
killed the
like
mood,
a different
maybe.
Director came in and directed that one episode. It was so radically different than any of the other episodes. It just was, it fell down. So,
well, thank you, Raimi. Steven, what you got on your plate?
I saw the 2022 movie Nope by Jordan Peele.
I want to see
I am such a huge fan of Jordan Peele. He has not missed yet. And this one, it absolutely lives up to what you would expect from Jordan Peele. So Nope is, I can't say too much about it without going into spoilers.
Yeah, don't give anything away because I do want to see it. Yeah,
it's about aliens.
That's about it.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. Check it out.
But also there's some heavy real political themes woven in.
It's about the shot.
There is, yeah. It's like, remember the movie, the M. Night Shyamalan movie Signs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like that, but as if it was made by Jordan Peele.
Yes. Very good. Dude, perfect.
What else? What other movies has he made? I'm horrible with names. So
he made
Get Out.
Get Out.
Us and Get Out. 2 of the best.
Those are like horror movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a comedy actor. so it's kind of like
Good.
weird.
He's genius.
His popularity was the key.
Like in my opinion, he's a genius director and writer.
I gotta say, Steven, though, when I was watching Nope, I'm the intro. I'm not gonna give it up. I'm watching it, and my head started going sideways. Like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Brian, you heard of Key and Peele?
And then it starts to sort of like spiral, and then sort of makes sense towards the end. And then I'm like, okay, good closure. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I feel
the opposite of an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
I feel uncomfortable. Like not uncomfortable. Like I need to leave the theater, but I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Help me, please put this together. And then it's starting to piece it, and the puzzle's coming. Oh, it's beautiful. I love that movie.
Is it horror?
Yeah,
you got to watch it.
I would say so,
I'm not going to say.
All right.
You got to watch it.
I don't like horror. I don't like horror.
It's not.
There's definitely some.
I wouldn't even say that.
disturbing
I wouldn't even
stuff
say
in it.
that Jordan Peele's scary movies aren't like horror per se. They're more like intellectual horror.
There's some blood, if that's what you call horror.
I mean, there's some disturbing.
No,
stuff
I don't
for
like.
sure.
I don't like.
But it's not like
blood.
It's not like zombies just munching on necks and blood squirting out. It's not like
No, not even that. I don't like disturbing things. Like disturbing things. As I've gotten older, I've gotten a little like not into it.
Yeah. All right. Well, right on.
preferences.
Thank you,
Okay,
Steven. Mike, what have you been watching? What do you like?
Well, you guys are probably going to expect me to say something really cool and interesting, but really, it was Hard Knocks. Anyone ever watched that show?
HBO.
Yes.
Yeah.
HBO,
What's the team this year?
My team, the Detroit Lions. So if you are like trying to figure out what I'm talking about, the NFL. So like my mood lighting, of course, is just enjoying any sort of normalcy, right? So I played sports growing up. I work in a college. So like sports are kind of part of my like, oh, cool. I get to spend Sunday watching the worst team ever in sports franchises continue to lose. The NFL has a contract with HBO Films or NFL Films. And if a team either has not had a first-year coach or they haven't made the playoffs, they are eligible for what's called Hard Knocks, which is a 6-episode look into training camp, which, like, if you're wondering how guys make a team, they have 80 guys get invited to training camp and they have to cut it down to a 53-man roster. And they edit it. What's incredible about this show is that it's only a week behind what's happening in real life.
That's cool.
Wow.
It's
So
pretty timely.
They film it and it's like they lead
I
up
feel
to
so bad for that editor.
Well, it's incredible. Like I think
He's up later than Steven.
I've watched almost every single one for the past like 5 seasons because as someone who has to work in that industry, I'm baffled at how they get great interviews out of guys because they set up a bunch of like the coaches know they're there, but they set up a combination of like actual canned interviews. And then they have all these like hidden cameras all over the place. And you see what goes on inside of someone who's like, man, this kid's really good, man. I really like his heart, but like, he's not up to the standard. And then you get to know these guys over this like 5-episode arc. And then you go on Monday and you're like, they released that guy. You're like, oh, but I love that guy. You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, that's pro sports.
And you're watching it
intimate,
out
though.
in ESPN, like, you know, like it's pretty timely.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You get to know the people and like,
That's pretty cool.
they trade them and you're like, dude, I was just watching him. I love that player or whatever.
Yeah. And it's crazy because like NFL just started on Sunday and one of the guys who was like a prominent point of the show, that's the rookie that basically just got invited. And, you know, they kind of focus on the guys who are like the personalities of the bunches. But this dude straight up got a start on our like defensive line, which is like kind of crazy a couple, you know, we have a couple really young guys that are on the line. So like, from a production standpoint, that's amazing. Non-realistic stuff. I think I'm enjoying House of the Dragon. I'm trying to figure out if the reason why I liked Game of Thrones so much is because it wasn't like, I think the fandom, I tweeted about this, please don't at me. But I said part of the reason why I like Game of Thrones is because if you remember, there were slow episodes in Game of Thrones that developed the reason why
all of them
hated some of these characters so much. But now everyone's attention span is like, dude, there's like 8 dragons in this show. I want to see a dragon every episode. I'm like, that shit's stupid. Like, that's dumb, dude. We can't. The reason we liked Game of Thrones is because we didn't know
dragons.
That's what I want to watch. That's why I stopped watching Game of Thrones.
Not enough dragons, man. I want to see dragon battle.
I don't need a 40-hour movie
with butt cheeks.
No,
Show a lot
but
of
my
butt
thing,
cheeks.
my thing is though, is that like it got to the point where the fans were so vocal about being like, we don't want people double crossing each other. We want action. And I'm like, I hear you.
Sure.
I hear you. And then we got to the last season of Game of Thrones and we got to the Battle of Winterfell. And I was like, I feel like I'm watching a freaking Marvel show. Like, half the characters have plot armor, and here's this sea of undead dudes running through, killing everybody, and nobody died, and people were like rolling over zombies, and I'm just like, this is so not Game of Thrones. And I feel like I'm enjoying this show, but it's like you can literally see like the amount of dragons in the show, the fans are happy. Then they like have people talking to say, set up the plot. And people are like, this show is boring. And I'm sitting here being like, it makes me more so very concerned for Andor, because Andor like is based on
No dragons. There
are no dragons in Andor.
Not even a crate.
But like part of one of the showrunners for Andor was from a show called The Americans. And if you watch did anyone watch The Americans?
Yeah, that's the Soviet kind of, or is that the Russian? Or like,
no. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's a deep cover Soviet couple.
Yeah. Okay.
In the height of the Red Scare, and their neighbor across the street is a counter-terrorist CIA agent. The tension in this show is incredible, and I'm like,
it's good.
That's what we need. Like, that's why people are so excited about it. But I get worried that people are going to be like, there's too much talkie. I want to see X-Wings. And I'm like, that's not what you just asked for grown-up Star Wars. Well, guess what? Grown-up Star Wars, grown-ups talk. We don't just like hit each other with baseball.
We pay our taxes.
Dragons.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Dragons are bust.
I'm trying to figure this out. And you know what? Totally topically, I'm loving She-Hulk. Super fun.
Yes.
Super topical. It's fun. People are mad about it, which makes me like it more. I'm like, dude, I'm enjoying the show from being like, it's the funnest 28 minutes I get a week. I'm like, guess what? Non-consequential, couple funny jokes, couple of girl power jokes, which I don't understand, but I'm sure someone out there does. Love it.
Well, thank you, Mike.
Mike, I used to love you.
I watched Thor: Love and Thunder. Thought that was fine.
Oof.
There we go. I'm fucking with you now, Cook. I actually thought it was the best one.
I do want to say this though. I think there's two camps. I think there's two. That mic sucks too, Steven. Throw that thing in the trash. I saw the print lines too. Look like crap.
Wow, we went there.
Not pixelated enough.
I'm gonna end this right here. Hunter's hard drive has ended. Steven, take it away.
It's hot.
For your information, the stinger of a Yalvik queen is a delicacy on some planets.
Okay, so that was Tech's intro. So, but is this my segment? Is Echo taking over this week?
Echo, you got it, my brother.
All right. So, Mike, the great Mike Forrester, as you all know, at the end of every episode of the Armor Party show, Mike does a lightning round with his guests, and we couldn't let Mike off the hook. But we're going to do it Dad Batch style.
Love it. Love it.
So, here we go.
You're on the spot, buddy.
Here we go.
On the spot.
Keeping in mind you have a wife and 6-year-old daughter to take care of, what Star Wars profession would you choose to help bring home the Ronto bacon?
You know what? I feel like a damn consistent job in the Star Wars universe is being a shipbuilder. I mean, if you think about it, at the height of the operation, like, dude, if you were a shipbuilder on Corellia, the Empire was like, the money's good, the money spends, you can just keep building these Star Destroyers, we are good. We got this long form project coming up. If we can get the funds, called the Final Order, we got to build like 10 million of these things. So why don't you just keep them building, bring home the Ronto? You're good, man. So I think like,
are you welding? Are you engineering? What are you doing?
I think like I want to
Manual
believe
labor.
that at some point maybe I was
He's doing whatever pays.
Yeah, I'm like maybe I'm like, hey, is there anything I can do to be creative? Oh, where'd you guys all go?
There you go.
There you are.
We're good.
We're good. We're
We
back.
got you.
You're back. You're back. He's catching up. Hold on.
You got us, Mike?
Hey, Mike, you there?
Hello.
Oof.
We see you. He's
We see-
tired.
We see him. We see each other.
Mike,
I think
we
he's
see
playing
you.
dumb. He wants to leave.
He's like, these questions are bogus. I'm out.
No, dude, that was a great
He's like,
question.
I'm going to pretend.
Mike.
And I'm just getting started.
Oh,
there we go. Okay.
There you go.
We're getting back in.
Oh.
All right.
Dude,
Yeah,
that was a
he'll
great
come back.
question. And I
Oh,
want
hey,
to say
that
he
was a
was
great
probably on the
question.
creative side. It sounded like he was kind of weaving in creative.
All 5 of them tie into one another too. It's one big sequence of a single story.
Bring it. Steven, I want to
There
apologize
he
now
is.
for the editing.
That's exactly what happened when Steven came on our party. Really? Yeah.
This is just payback for all the editing I made you do.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. My short answer is I want to say that I'd be a Corellian shipbuilder and I would be doing something creative, and then like Moloch would pop up. What are you? Creative? It's Corellia. Shit in a bag and eat it. Okay, sounds good. So I would just think I'm like I'm punching rivets. That's all I'm doing.
Dude, you answered so fast.
Punching
I know.
rivets.
This was a great answer. Not one I saw coming.
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
from
so
Detroit, man.
that makes sense. So with those hard-earned CNR Systems shipbuilder credits, you're taking the family on a vacation to any planet in the Star Wars galaxy. Where are you going?
I would love to explore the shores of Takodana. I think Naboo is like, like I said, I'm a humble man. I'd show up in Naboo and people would be like, oh, you must have gotten lost. But you show up to Takodana and you're like, there's a castle over there. It's got a lot of flags on it, a lot of scumbags in that place. They'd be like, okay, well, the shores are lovely. You can go play with your daughter down there. And if you want to come up here and wager your entire daughter's college fund on a game of cards up here, you can do that too. And I'm just the kind of person that would be like, let me think about that, because I'm enticed.
Sweet.
But my wife is here and she'll probably tell me no. So I would say Takodana.
All right. So we all know that having kids means there's no such thing as traveling light when you're on vacation. So knowing that you have to have room for the family and all of the stuff that goes with it, which Star Wars vehicle is your go-to ride for your vacation to Takodana?
It's a great question, and I want to always believe that I would fly the most handsome, fastest hunk of junk in the planet. But let's be real, that is for a couple of people in Star Wars, and that's not me. So I would say anything along the lines of a Razor Crest.
It's very
style
practical.
ship. It's a very functional dad vehicle. It's basically a minivan. It's not cool enough to be an SUV. It's
Okay.
enough that, like, if you were to run from the space cops, Carson,
It's like an
Teva,
RV.
Trapper Wolf, they look over at you and go, "Where is that guy going in that thing?" Because they know you're not going anywhere. Exactly, right? So,
And you know
I
what's
would
so good about
say-
that answer is you could carbon freeze your kid if they're just yapping and won't shut up, and then wake them up later.
They're like,
Wow.
Wake them up later at the end of the trip, and they're like,
it'll
they
work.
don't even have to say,
Hibernation
"Dad, are we
sickness.
there
I
yet?"
can't see. A vision will
All right.
come back soon. My final answer.
Okay. So while you are gambling away your daughter's college money on vacation in Takodana, you're contacted
Where's
by
college going to be in
everyone's
10 years anyways?
You're contacted by everyone's favorite Trandoshan barkeep / informant Sid for a quick job that's just too good to pass up. If you can only take just one member of the Bad Batch with you to ensure a successful mission, who would it be and why?
As a guy who's been 5'8" most of my life, I generally have had a very strong mindset of talk shit and get hit but the second part never really happened enough that I stopped doing the first part. So usually what happens is I bring someone who's bigger than me so that I can be like, listen,
but that's everyone.
You don't like what I'm saying.
That's everyone
Talk
on the
to
bench.
my large friend there who has to put up with what I'm saying. So
Sorry.
It really is. It is. But I think everyone knows that if you walk into a bar and you're like, listen, I'm ready to flip tables here. And if you have a problem with that, take it up with Wrecker. And you come over and be like, what do you need me to do? Yeah. Exactly. So I'm gonna say I need some muscle.
Nice, Steven.
I'm Italian. Everyone knows you gotta have a little muscle on a job, right? So I'm saying bring Wrecker along. I can talk for myself, but I need Wrecker to come in and be like, all right, shit has officially hit the fan. Do your thing.
It's a spicy meatball. Okay, last question. Harkening back to the first question, but now let's think about your daughter, June. As fathers, all we ever want is to see our kids have it better than we did when they grow up. So in about 10 or so years, in a proud space daddy moment, your daughter comes up to you and says, I've decided what I want to do with my life. I'm going to be
I'm going to be part of the Guevarian death gang.
Nice. I support this 100%.
Tell that the country club.
I'd be like, what? How did you? What? I'd be like,
that little freak.
I'd be like, first of all, how do you see out of that helmet? Because Daddy wants to try that on.
I have
like
one.
Pre-Squid Game. I feel like realistically that would be like awesome for a guy from Corellia to be like, my daughter's off running with mercenaries, just frying people across the outer rim. Just because I think in general, I think we all want to see our kids be able to navigate the world that's even going to be crazier than the one we already live in. So there's a part of me that's like, if my daughter is enough to go chase down people who knowingly have Rathtars in their cargo hold, and they're like, oh, no, we need those back. I'm kind of like, that's pretty badass. So, I'm kind of looking at that saying, my daughter might be a complete badass, and she doesn't have to be morally gray. She can just straight up be bad. That's fine. I don't care.
Nice.
I asked her, I gave her 2 lightsabers, and I was like, what color do you like? And I was like, the blue one's really cool. She just turned up the red one and was like, oh, I like this one. And I was like, oh, it's Elmer Anakin. You are like a daughter to me.
Nice.
She chose her side. She chose her side, Echo. I don't have a choice.
So good, man.
All right. Thank you, Mike, for answering those questions. Those were amazing answers. So, and thank you for being on the show.
That was
a
awesome.
pleasure to be
Just
here.
those little freaks.
It's a pleasure to be here with all you guys. I'm laughing at a variety of different things. But first of all, you're going to get people on this show. I'm all incredibly intimidated by how motivated you guys are to all build independently. You're all great costumers. Let me just say that as the host of a costuming podcast. And then I come on here and I'm like, everyone's got you guys are so into this that you all geeked out and completely tricked out your microphones. I'm like, this is an intimidating bunch to hang with. I'm coming on here being like, I don't even know if I've built a costume before. I got 6 of them sitting up in the garage. I don't even know if I've done anything when I compare myself to you guys.
Wait, Tech, is that actually lit up? Oh my God.
You see what I'm talking about? This is what I mean. This is an intimidating bunch. I hope any guest that's listening to this is like, these guys are serious, man.
Yeah, but look, none of them has a removable fire puncher.
Okay, go ahead. Pull it out. Flex on him, Cook.
There you go.
Oh my gosh.
No, dude. In all honesty, though, Mike, you guys, you know this. We all think you're the bee's knees, and I don't even think we'd probably be doing this if it wasn't for what you guys do over at the Armor Party.
Very true.
And I've listened to Thank the Maker pod and some of those as well, but you're a freaking absolute pro at this, and I know we draw a ton of inspiration from what you do. I'm super stoked that you have a new season, which has been awesome to listen to.
Thank you,
Chris, and then Stevie, and then you got I don't know her real name. I'll just call her Star. Star on coming up soon. So yeah, man, I definitely wanted to say that I was super excited you were going to be on today. I wasn't supposed to be here, and I'm here.
Yeah, baby.
Because I always appreciate a time when we get to drink beer and talk Shiza to each other. So
I was super geeked to be able to hang with everyone in celebration. I feel like I'm going to be chasing that high for until when it comes back stateside, because I'm going to Disney like a month before celebration. And I was like, I just don't. And we all got kids, right? So like, there's kind of like that thing where you're like, oh, sick. Like,
yeah,
I can't. I don't know if I even want to fathom this conversation and be like, hey, babe, I know we just spent $10,000 at Disney. What if Dad spends $3,000 by himself and goes to London with his nerdy friends? So I'm going to avoid that one. But I think
there's a rumor.
Yeah, we're in limbo right now.
There's a rumor stopping half of us on this podcast right now, or more than half of us.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
London or bust, baby.
Here's what I'm saying. I feel like if the process of everyone building costumes, like the thing that Justin Sonfield said to me, the CEO of the 501st, he would continually remind me, this is because of Star Wars. The reason we all know each other is because of Star Wars. The reason that we've been able to work on shows and have these opportunities is because we've loved Star Wars. And I would say, if anything, post-pandemic, that's been the coolest part of what this is all unveiled for us. We're getting new Star Wars content. That's great. We all love Star Wars. But like, is this community not just been a complete lifesaver in terms of like our mental creativity, our desire to want to keep building, our challenges that like we're having content podcasts because of how rad this community is? We're all a part of that. And I just keep feeling like it just motivates me to keep being fresh and keep having this hobby that isn't this passive. As we get older, it gets hard for us to make new friends, because sometimes we're like, I have friends, I don't want to make new friends, I want to just hang with the ones I already have. This community, for dads, for other guys, for women, whoever's involved, like, this has been a complete lifesaver for us as we escape boring ass day jobs. You know what I mean? I truly mean that. So I just come back to being like, Star Wars is amazing. Without it, we wouldn't know each other in many ways. I think that's incredible. So I'm honored to be a part of this community and stoked to be like that. I know that if I'm like, I'm going to go to a con, the fact that some of you guys are going to be able to be there, I'm like, dude, sign me up.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight.
I'm all about
happy to have you anytime.
Well, guys, that pretty much does it for episode 7. Thank you for listening to us. If you like what we do, give us a good review on your podcast app. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to grow it over there. We don't know what we're doing, but go check out some new videos. Oh, and go check out the new unboxing video that Raimi put up. You can email us questions at dadbatchpod@gmail.com. You can follow me at Stevie Kicks on all the socials.
Everywhere.
Joe, how do people find you?
Tech.dadbatch.
Brian, where can people find you?
Dad.Bane.
How was your first follower?
What's up, baby? It's live.
How was your first follower?
Raimi, where can people find you?
Thedadbatch.com.
And Mike, how can people find you?
And find me over talking costumes with all you dudes until we get the other 2 members of the Dad Batch on at Armor Party Show on Instagram. You can find me at Hondo Supply on Twitter, where I'm giving hot takes about stuff that people don't want to hear about Star Wars. And I'm also making I got a couple followers over there. I'm spitting a couple things. But you can also find me making all kinds of counterfeit things for the galaxy at Hondo Supply on Instagram as well.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you again, guys, for listening to the Dad Batch podcast. And until next time, enjoy your spice responsibly.
Weird without the music.
It is.
What are you talking about? We hear that.
I have John. Who needs music? We got John.
Did you stop recording, Stevie?
John.